Ranking in Google is the result of having great content, of having great reviews, of building relationships, of making blog posts that get seen, of running ads that drive traffic to your site. All these things are signals that Google can see. And when you show the good signals to Google, they'll rank you higher. And people also ask in different kinds of featured snippets and videos and tweets and knowledge panels, all these different things that show up inside Google.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Mike Hickman here, founder of paintergrowth.com, and you're listening to a very special episode of the Painter Growth Podcast. I have Dennis Yu on today, and you may not have heard of him before, but you certainly should have. He is founder of his company called Blitz Metrics, but previously he's been in charge of or been responsible for over $1 billion with a B in ad spend. He's argued with Mark Zuckerberg live on CNN, and he's one of the original search engine engineers of a little tiny company called Yahoo.
Before there was Google.
I'm sorry?
Before there was a Google.
Before there was a Google. Absolutely. So, hey, Dennis, really excited to have you on today.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see you.
So I think there's really, there's a million things that you could provide value to the listeners of this podcast, but the two things that I wanted to kind of pick your brain on today, like, because I'm personally interested, is going to be on building your personal brand, because like for right now, you wouldn't say, you don't classify this your personal brand, but on Facebook, you have almost 1 million followers, among other social medias too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And because you've been, and then SEO, because you were original search engine engineer of Yahoo, you spent basically your life in SEO. Probably we can have some good questions about that.
Yep.
So I want to ask you first, how did you end up arguing with Mark Zuckerberg live on CNN?
One of my friends is the anchor at CNN, like George Howell. Him and Anderson Cooper are the co-anchors. And Cambridge Analytica happened, if you remember.
Yep.
There were some data privacy issues, the Chinese and Russians meddling in the elections, and they needed somebody to kind of argue the counter side. And the question is, should Facebook be regulated? And what does Facebook really know about our data? And naturally, they came to me, because if you look in the media, whenever the media has a question about data privacy, about Facebook, about advertising, they've come to me. And I may or may not be the most knowledgeable person, but because I've been on TV so many times, I'm a safe bet to bring on TV. So I flew to Atlanta in the studios, and it was a very harrowing kind of thing. They have more, like the TSA is kind of a pain in the butt, right? Going through that whole airport security.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine going through 3 layers of TSA because CNN is the most bomb-threatened building in the world. And all that kind of stuff that comes with it, and the makeup, and getting there early at 5 a.m, and those kinds of things. But it's absolutely nuts. And
was Mark Zuckerberg in the same room as you?
No, he was remote.
He was remote. Okay.
But I think I kicked his butt, because I got text messages from other Facebook executives afterwards saying, dude, you can't be saying stuff like that on TV. And I said, I don't work for you guys. And I gave an honest answer, and I was protecting you guys too. So it wasn't like I was just trying to bash Facebook.
Well, I'm certainly going to check out that interview as soon as we're done here. So I guess moving forward into like going from, not even from that, how do you spend $1 billion in ad spend? That's a lot of money.
You spend it $1 at a time. And I'm a big testing guy. I'm not a gambling, just throw everything on red kind of guy. And if you're a painting contractor and you have a micro budget, then you start running at $1 a day. And when you find 10 ads that you put $7 against to run for a week, you find one that's a winner, you put $10 against it, you put $100 against it, and then you let it run forever. And that's how you get to billions of dollars in ad spend. Like we did this for Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a language learning company, learn how to speak Spanish or English. And we started with $1 a day against a bunch of different ads for a Black Friday, Christmas sale, this kind of thing. And You and I, Mike, if we looked at a grid of all the different videos and the different stories, you and I could not pick out what we think the winner would be. We'd guess at it, right? But we ran tests against it, and we found that the story of this ambulance driver in Portland, Oregon, who learned how to speak Spanish, and that saved a bunch of lives because he didn't have to get an interpreter in. And when you have a heart attack or a car accident, minutes count, seconds count. And he told that story, and that was the one that did the best. But we wouldn't have known unless we tested it. So it was just a testing strategy. And then we spent $1.3 million a day on Facebook and Google Ads, leveraging that story. But we wouldn't have known. We did the same thing for the Golden State Warriors, for Nike, for Quiznos, for Ashley Furniture, right? A chain of furniture stores. All of it's just testing. We're putting out 5, 10, sometimes 20 pieces of content, all at $1 a day. And when one of them wins, then we'll put $1,000 against it or $10,000 against it. But it's proven to win at that point. And that's how you spend a lot of money. You test with a little bit of money.
So what's your thought process on creating different angles? So to create those different angles and those different ad variations, like what would be the process of doing that?
Yeah. So we start with what we call GCT, which is goals, content, and targeting. Those are the components of a successful brand. So when you think about goals, content, and targeting, it's I help people achieve a certain goal in a certain way for this particular audience. So I make beautiful houses in, downtown LA or, whatever it is, right? It's whatever you do, how you do it, and who you do it for. And when you tell those different stories in different variations, you're able to isolate the particular ingredients that are working. Is that particular ad working because that painting contractor is, up on a ladder and he has great personality? Is it because of the house that they're at? Is it because of the location, that it's a recognizable location? Is it because of what they're saying? Is it there's so many different angles that can go into a video. And I don't even mean an ad. I mean any kind of piece of creative. And if you isolate it to, it's this particular person, he's got a great personality. Okay, great. Let's have that person make more videos. Or it's because he's in this particular situation and it's a ride along. Like, hey, come with me. We're going to visit this guy and we're going to paint his house. Like, okay, but then if that's what's working, do more of that. And you find
you
the
never know
patterns.
until you test tons of ads against each other and then pick the winners.
That's true. And so when you have it, so it's not just, I'm going to willy-nilly come up with 50 random ideas. That's just spaghetti on the wall. What I'm doing is I'm taking things that I know work. So what's my value proposition? How does it tie to my reputation? What are people saying about me? If I look very carefully at my reviews in my Google business profile, if I look at what people are saying about me on Facebook, if I have my text go out and say, hey, Sally, what do you think about the job? And she uses these particular words, then I'm going to reuse those components. So, Tommy Mello, he's a good buddy of mine and he runs A1 Garage. And his technicians go out and say, hey, homeowner, did you know that the garage door is the smile to your house? And so people, their faces light up like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, you see how it was before and you see how it is now. How do you feel about that? And what kind of job did we do? What was it like beginning to end? And what would you say about us to other people? Would you recommend us to your neighbor if they needed a garage door? And so by listening very carefully to those stories, you're going to hear certain phrases that your customers use. And then that's what you put in the ads.
Like that. I've heard a similar strategy when it comes to doing market research. You look at, so say I want to write a book about a certain topic or want to create ads. I look at books on Amazon and the reviews that people have written on the books, and then what words they're using on those reviews. And then that's kind of becomes some emotional copy.
Yeah.
But that's really good to look at your own ads and see really what your own reviews to see what people are saying about you and then leverage that to other people.
And other people's ads too. Because you and I know we can go to the Facebook ads library and we can look at what all the other painting contractors are doing in our city or anywhere else. And if you find a certain ad has been running for a few months, probably means it's working. Not necessarily, but usually it means if someone continues to put money against it, it's probably doing well for them, right? Well, what is it that they're doing? And can you do without exactly copying? Can you do kind of the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
that simple.
And then it's about just doing something similar, and then
Yeah.
having a few different testing variations of it,
Yeah.
and then repeating the process.
Yeah. It's so easy. The data is available. My buddy Mike Roberts, 20 years ago, he created this tool called SpyFu, and it's competitive intelligence on Google. So you can see exactly the ads other people are running, what they're bidding, what their strategy is, who they're targeting. Google even lets you know inside Search Console. TikTok has their ads library. You can do the same searches. You have SEMrush and Ahrefs and other tools. I won't get too technical. The point is there's a lot of tools where you can see exactly what your competitors are doing. So there's no mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the concept of seeing how long an ad has been running, because you're right. If it's been running for more than 3 or 4 months, then one of two things has happened: either it's a successful ad and they're making money from it, or they're just completely incompetent.
Yeah. And they're just like, no one's watching what's going on and they're wasting money. But usually they know what they're doing.
Yeah, usually, hopefully.
And if not, then that's your competitor and that's who you're competing against. And, I love it when these other, and in the world of local, right? I'm a painter. I only have to beat other people in my city. It's like the guy who's fat and he's running from the bear. And his partner says, well, how are you running from the bear? The bear can run 30 miles per hour. Yeah, I know, but I only have to outrun you.
Yeah, I like that. I think that most not even just painting contractors, but most people are scared to put any sort of budget into Facebook or other platforms, because they're just
Sure.
not sure that it's going to work. But I think
Yeah.
if you're managing it properly, looking at it every day, looking at the data,
Yeah.
and making changes on a regular basis, then you can have more confidence in your ad spend.
So for me, I love to gamble, as in I win most of the time because it's not a Las Vegas blackjack, whatever kind of gamble.
But you do live in
It-
Vegas, so
I come here to take the oxygen bads. I never put a dime
yeah,
in. I feel like that's a tax for people that suck at math.
yeah.
Why would people do that? Okay, it's entertainment and whatever. Okay, fine. But we were in a meeting the other day with Facebook, and we told them, hey, did you know that with the conversion API, when you run lead ads on Facebook, that data is not being passed back to Facebook? And we told this to the Facebook engineers, and they didn't know that. Isn't that crazy? If
Seems
you
like a
run a
pretty
lead
basic
ad,
thing.
you run a lead ad on Facebook, or you run some kind of ad on Google or whatever, and you collect someone's name and phone number and this kind of thing, right? It's called a lead ad. You have to pass that data back to Facebook, even though it is run, for example, on Facebook. You would think like Facebook talks to each other, but they're a big corporation with different departments that have different parts of software that don't talk to each other. So the reason why that's important, and it sounds like this technical thing that most painting contractors like, what is he talking about? If you don't pass back the signal of a conversion, and not just like a phone call, but what was a phone call that resulted in a quote that resulted in a customer, then Facebook and Google and whatnot can't optimize for you. They can't tune your ads for you. Even if you had me tuning your ads for you personally, I cannot beat the system if you pass it back the signal of a quality conversion. Isn't that crazy? That
Well,
most
they
people are not
want
even doing this.
Facebook wants you to have quality conversions, because that's going to make you spend more money with them.
But if you don't give them the data, then they have no idea. They're just going to, well, what the best I'm going to do? I guess I'll just assume a click. I mean, what else?
So
Well, people watch the video.
most contractors, in my experience, use either a lead ad or a messenger ad on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So if you're
So
using a lead ad, are you passing that back through the conversion API, through a leads bridge, or through some other tool that does
how
that?
can they figure that out?
It's easy. It's like a couple clicks. And you just sign up for a leads bridge account, which is like a free trial thing, and you pay like a couple bucks a month. And
Lead
that makes
bridge.
all the difference in your advertising. It is not how good you are at advertising and come up with these creative structures and targeting and ad sets, and it has nothing to do with that. It's two things: pass the data back of the actual conversion you want. Two, make combinations of creatives as 1-minute videos and whatnot that we teach. You put those two things in the machine, it's as easy as brewing a Keurig in the morning. You put the thing in, press the button. Like, do you think, Mike, that I could outbrew a Keurig coffee cup than you? Like, I'm an expert. I've been brewing Keurigs for 20 years, thousands of times pressing the little button
Yeah,
to brew the thing.
I'm an
Do you think I
expert.
could outbrew you?
Probably not.
Well, that's how it is for advertising
It'd
today.
be pretty close. Probably be a
Yeah.
tie, I think is how it would end up.
And I'm sad because arguably I was number one in the world in Facebook advertising. I was speaking at all the conferences. I wrote all the big articles about the targeting. And, at one point there are 37 different ad types on Facebook. And I explained what each of them were. And it was all so complicated. And the more complicated Facebook made it, the more well-known I became and the bigger our agency grew and this sort of thing. But all those days are gone. It's like the AI beats you in chess, right? You're not going to beat the machine in chess anymore. I'm sorry. You need to work with the machine. The machine is smarter than you. Put in the data, put in the creative. You do those two. You do not need someone else as an advertising expert. Sorry. That was my career as an advertising expert. That died 3 years ago.
So when someone starts a Facebook ad account, say they've never really ran Facebook ads before, they've done it in a little bit of a minimal fashion.
Yeah.
How many ad variations should they start with?
3 or 4. I mean, you have, Dynamic Creatives Advantage Plus and the equivalent of like Performance Max on Google. But the point is you just need a few, right?
Yeah.
A few little videos that show who you are at different stages of the funnel.
You think video would be better than still image?
Video, because video can be turned into images and images can be turned into words and ChatGPT can write, copy, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Video.
So video, before and after video, testimonial video, selfie video.
Before and after is not allowed, but yeah. You'll
before
get,
and after. Before and
you'll
after.
get shut down with before and
home
after.
transformations you can do. You can't do body transformations, but you can do home transformations.
Yeah. Just don't, like, the side-by-sides will get you in trouble, but videos showing the process is okay, even though technically that's like a time lapse before and after.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So how about, so I think that's I know that we could go on Facebook forever, but let's move a little bit into personal brand and SEO. Now, SEO kind of gets a bad rap because it can be complicated.
It's scammy. Most of the people offering SEO are scamming, whether they're good-hearted and well-meaning or not. They're scammers, the majority of them.
So there's people who, they're white label. You don't know what you're buying, right? Because it's going to take 6 to 12 months before you see any results.
And the nature of selling it is like, imagine, Mike, I said, hey, let's just pretend you're fat, but you're not. And I said, you know what? I'm an expert weight loss, whatever. And if you pay me $2,000 a month, you will lose weight. And you don't have to do anything. You just pay me $2,000 a month because I'm a pro, and I have all these people in India that are experts in weight loss. What would you say to that?
Sounds great. Let's do it. I don't
Really?
have to do anything?
You don't have to do anything. No, you just pay me and magically you'll just start losing weight.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
SEO is not something you do. SEO is the result. Ranking in Google is the result of having great content, of having great reviews, of building relationships, of making blog posts that get seen, of running ads that drive traffic to your site. All these things are signals that Google can see. And when you show the good signals to Google, they'll rank you higher. And people also ask, and different kinds of featured snippets and videos and tweets and knowledge panels, all these different things that show up inside Google. So if you work on taking care of your customers and build a great reputation and say thank you to your customers in a particular way, which we call the content factory, which is saying thank you, gathering the reviews and putting it on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and your GMB and all the places that you can put it out there so people can see it and so Google can see it. The result of all that is SEO, but you don't do SEO. You do these content activity, take care of customers, use ChatGPT, create content, whatever. You do these things, and the result is you rank in search engines.
That's like, you can't, back to the weight loss analogy, right? You can't go out and lose weight, but you can do things that contribute to that.
If the result is I want to lose weight, then what do? I eat properly, I sleep, I exercise, I avoid all the carbohydrates. There's all these things that I have to do, but I don't do weight loss. You see what I'm saying? Now, people want SEO, and is it valuable? Yeah, of course I want to rank in Google #1 and all this and that, but you don't do SEO. And so the people that sell SEO, they can't get on the treadmill for you, right? They can't eat your vegetables for you. They can't sleep for you.
What's the whole thing about backlinks? I never fully got that.
So backlinks used to be the top signal of trust because us as search engines, we would say, it's like a lie detector test. We would say, what are all the things that are a signal of authenticity? In other words, what are things that are very hard for spammers to do? Well, what are the easy things for spammers to do? Well, spammers can generate websites. Spammers can use all these AI tools to generate all this other stuff. Spammers can create fake profiles that are even more believable than real profiles. But getting a link from CNN, getting a link from other, let's say, what city are you in?
I live in Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh, Saskatoon, like where Vendasta is, which gets down to -40 and all. So
Yep.
if I'm a painting contractor in Saskatoon, then and I build links. In other words, there's other businesses in Saskatoon. There's the Ford dealership that George told me about. There's Vendasta's new office building there. There's all these other, there's I can get poutine at, whatever the Tim
Maple
Hortons,
syrup outlet.
whatever, right? All
Yeah.
these things. So those are all real signals. So if I'm a Saskatoon business, I'm going to show real signals of other Saskatoon businesses that I know and work with and network with as part of my day to day. So there's always two things that have to intersect. There's my geo and there's my category. So the geo is Saskatoon. I need all things Saskatoon. If all the stuff is coming from India or LA or other places, then I'm pretending to be a Saskatoon business. And even if they say Saskatoon, but the IP address says it's Dallas, Texas, search engine's going to say that, right?
Yeah.
So there's the geo piece and there's the category piece. So within painting, there's all the subcategories of the kind of painting that you do. And you need to talk about it, show it, have videos of it, have your technicians that are behind the scenes. So you have your geo and you have your category. And when you do what you do, when your vans are going about and people, notice them and take pictures, or people Google your name, or those all generate signals. Now, if I'm an SEO company and I'm in Las Vegas and I don't know anything about Saskatoon, how do I build links in Saskatoon? How do I get Saskatoon companies to link to me? How do I guest blog post for Saskatoon companies? How do I interview the mayor in Saskatoon? I can't.
The search engines are getting smarter, is what you're saying.
So search engines have always known this. I did this over 20 years ago. I had a team of engineers that did this over 20 years ago. And if we could do it back then, guarantee you they're a lot smarter now. I spent 3 full days with Google engineers last week in closed door sessions where I had to sign documents basically saying that this is a secret and we're not going to talk about it, but I'll kind of like vaguely talk around it. But they basically admit that they know. They know they can detect ChatGPT. Did you know that?
I had heard that somewhere.
Yeah, they can do it. They're not dumb, right? Do you with all their engineering power, and they saw this coming? Don't you think that they put in place the techniques so they can? But what they told me, which blew my mind, was, yeah, but we're not doing anything about it. And we can detect it, but we're not going to penalize anybody about it yet. Like, why not? Well, because there's Anthropic and Bard and other sorts of AI tools, and we want to be able to algorithmically detect any of the AIs, not just ChatGPT. Like, oh, okay, fair enough. And it's not become a big enough problem yet.
Yeah, but I'm sure it will. It'll continue to grow as this is as worse as AI will ever be in our lives.
And they said that they're going to nail people on this. It's just a matter of time.
So how when it comes to actually doing SEO, as you would say, so getting that result that that everyone is looking for, not even showing up first, but like showing up more frequently on Google, having a good like map pack showing up on Google Maps more frequently, getting those organic leads. You said great content reviews, and relationships. So what do you think are like the top 2 or 3 low-hanging fruit that every service-based business should be doing to maximize this opportunity?
Every time you do a job, make a 15-second video with that customer. Every time someone gives you a good review on Google, Facebook, whatever, share it. Every time you get a new employee, or it's some kind of holiday, or it's, 5th anniversary of Sally who answers the phone, honor them with a 15-second video. Take those little videos that come across from wherever, or a day in the life of whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be painting. It could be, hey, I like to get coffee in the morning because prior to that, I'm a jerk. So don't talk to me until I have my coffee. I don't know, whatever it is, just different parts to show that you and your team are human. Collect those little videos, then push them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat, Google My Business, the website, all of that. Take that content, that video content, which we like to put inside Google Drive, and push it on all the different channels, even identically as they are, just raw. Don't have to edit it. Don't have to hire all the VAs to do all the stuff. You can use Descript if you want, or hire people that do Premiere Pro and other tools. But if you take those little authentic stories, not perfect choreographed, $60,000 red camera, Hollywood produced. No, just you and your cell phone. You take those stories, put that out there. The result will be that you rank better in search. And I ran this by the folks at Google last week. This is what we call the content factory, the techniques of being able to take this and push it out. I ran it by Google and I said, is this okay? Is this spamming? I mean, if I literally take the same video and I put it on my website and Twitter and Facebook, I mean, is that duplicate content? Because I thought Google kind of doesn't like it when you do it like that. Like, no, it's fine because it's useful. It's not anything that Google sees as bad. It's not there to trick the search engine. And most importantly, it's real. It's real stories that satisfy Google's algorithm of EEAT. Google changed their algorithm from EAT to EEAT, and that first E is experience. So showing your experience is very real and very good for potential clients, and it's very good for Google. And the AI can't do that because the AI only
So
makes
posting those videos on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube,
yes.
how does that support your website and Google map placement? Do you
It
link your
affects
website
all
on
of
each
those.
one?
So when you do a search, when someone does, painter near me, right? And I want to show up in the map pack or PAA or whatever, what Google is doing is they're triangulating between all those different feeds. Now you get a single consolidated set of search results, but those are all different queries that get compiled together at runtime. So YouTube videos, people also ask, regular text search, Twitter, social media pieces, all of those things get combined. And when they corroborate, meaning that this is Michael Gore Hickman and he's in Saskatoon and this is his painting company. And this is, when that information corroborates, it triangulates. That sends a signal of trust to Google. And this is what Google confirmed for me last week. This is more likely to drive, it's a technical term, more likely to drive featured snippets, right? When you show up in search features, which is the variety of search results when you do a search. So if you do a search for my name, Dennis Yu, you'll see a full knowledge panel pop up with all those colored boxes, right? You know what I'm talking about with the knowledge panels?
Yeah.
Okay. How did I get a knowledge panel? Is it because I'm famous? Is it because I'm a celebrity? No. It's because I've taken these videos, I've pushed them to multiple places so that Google sees this clear signal of who I am, what I stand for, places I've been, friends that I have. Marco Sipple is a buddy of mine. We ran the Portland Marathon together 2 months ago. Google knows this, right? Because I put it on Facebook and Instagram and other places. I wanted Google to see this. So now when you do a search for me, it'll also say like people also searched for Marco Sipple. Like, oh yeah, there's a lot of pictures of Dennis and Marco doing things, eating food, right? And so if you do all that and on your website, you implement schema, which sounds like a very difficult, complicated kind of thing, but it's not. Then you're categorizing your information to make Google better be able to understand who you are. And having things like schema, if you do all the things I talked about here, and then you use schema, which is marking up objects on your website to show this is a person, this is a picture, this is a product that we have, this is, you mark up these things, it's going to drive a knowledge panel. And
is that
everything is knowledge
like
panel.
just doing creating descriptions for each object on your website?
It's categorizing objects. So if you go to, you want to go see a movie this weekend and you go to Wikipedia or like whatever, Rotten Tomatoes, all those objects are already categorized. This is the movie. We're categorizing the objects of these are the authors. This is the date. This is where it was shot. This is the producer. This is like all of those. Think of all the facts that are associated with an object. So me is an object. I'm a person. I'm 49 years old. I was born in Dayton, Ohio. Here's some other facts about me. I've spent $1 billion on Facebook ads and Google ads verifiably. I've argued with Mark Zuckerberg. I've been on CNN. There's like all these facts. These are all facts. And so to any particular object, I know this is a little technical, but it's actually worth understanding. Okay. So for any object, they're all the facts that are associated with that object. And there's a way to tell the search engine about those associated facts and that object. And that's called schema markup. And it is not hard to do. It sounds really complicated. You could just hire a VA to do this for a few $100s in one shot, off of Fiverr, Upwork. Say, hey, talking to Michael Gore, Hickman, and Dennis Yu, and they said we need to get schema markup on our site. Can you just go ahead and do that using the all-in-one SEO pack or Rank Math or whatever your favorite SEO plugin? Can you just go ahead and do that so that all of our objects, all of our, our office, our trucks, the products that we use, the services we have, our social media profiles, all of those things are categorized properly. Now, just doing that alone isn't enough to give you all this SEO magic, but it'll help you. It'll make a difference. It'll drive the knowledge panel. And what people don't know is that in 2024, search is completely changing from the 10 blue links, which is what we've been used to a single result, a consolidated result, which is a bunch of colored boxes called a knowledge panel. Search generative experience, which you probably heard about, rolling out. That's basically a dynamic knowledge panel. If you want to show up in those knowledge panels, you have to categorize your information properly. And you have to even have that information to begin with, which are these little 15-second videos.
How about when it comes to the descriptions in your social media posts? So you have like your Instagram, YouTube, or whatever on your website. So it's linked there. Should you be writing descriptions with keywords, with information about you, or just post in the videos and let the AI watch the video for you?
The AI can watch the video. TikTok does facial recognition inside the videos. That's how their search is prioritized. Okay. They don't admit that, but it's true. I talked to people inside who admitted it was true. So trying to write descriptions because you're trying to just jam in Saskatoon, painting contractor, Saskatoon. Don't do that. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're writing a description, make sure it's helpful. Make sure it actually adds some kind of value. Don't do it because you're trying to trick the search engine, right? Do it because it's actually interesting because you're showing the name of the person, some context about what's going on in this video, things that we wouldn't know just from watching the video, right? If you were showing this video, I'm like, hey, Mike, check out this video. And I give you a little context about what's going on in the video. That's what should be in the description. And a lot of people make the mistake of writing this long description. Well, that defeats the whole purpose of watching the video. The description is there to tell you enough so you can decide whether you want to watch the video or not. It's not there to replace or summarize the video.
Mm-hmm. The video should stand on its own.
Well, every part of a piece of creative serves its part. So the thumbnail is there to get your attention. The description or headline is there to kind of entice you to see, like, what is this about? And then the video itself is the delivery mechanism of the content, right? It's the story that you're telling.
Okay. So the quick wins that people should start doing right now is, number one, get schema, marking up objects on your website. Is that SCHEMA?
Yes.
Okay.
But so if you don't have much content, there's no schema to mark up.
Okay.
You have to have these videos. You have to have these posts that you can push on social media. Easiest thing to do is if you've been posting on Instagram and Facebook and whatever, you can turn each of those into a blog post, or you can, what's called repurposing. Mm-hmm. You can take that content and you can copy it to your GMB and you can copy it to your website. And then you have more things to mark up on schema. Most people don't have, their website is some static thing that was built 10 years ago. And maybe they're paying some SEO company every month, hoping that things are going well, but nothing's actually happening. And so there's no content on the site to mark up. Right?
Yeah. I mean, probably 95% of websites that I've ever seen are just that, static websites that are built once and maybe updated once a year.
Yeah. There's no content there. You got to get the content there, and then you can categorize it and create categories and,
it's a business card, right?
Yeah, it's a brochure that they paid someone to put on the internet. And now they've paid some SEO company a few $1,000s a month. The name of one who you and I know about, but I won't mention their name, paid thousands of dollars a month, hoping that SEO is happening, and nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't want that to happen.
Take control of your SEO. You can audit your SEO. Marco Sipple and I talk about how you can own your own marketing. These other, like, I know you run a digital agency, but the majority of these other agencies, they are just taking your money.
I actually don't run an agency.
Oh, you don't?
Coaching business.
Oh, it's coaching. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't do any marketing anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Even better. Thank you.
Yeah. So having great content, of course, I really like that. Using every opportunity to create little 15, 30-second videos, day in the
Yeah.
life, things that are happening, jobs that you're working on, every review that you get. How would you, like in the painting business or in any service business, there's
Yeah.
lots of relationships, right? Tons of customers, suppliers, subcontractors. How would you
Yeah.
go about maximizing those relationships to further your SEO goals?
Same way. So anyone who's a supplier, other contractors, other folks, maybe you're dealing with the general contractor, the builder. There's all these other people that are relationships. What you want to do with permission is expose those relationships because that exposes reputation and trust. And Google can see it. And that sends a signal that shows that you're a more legitimate company than the other painting contracting company where there's like nothing going on. And they might be a great company, but there's no signal for Google to pick up on.
Hmm. So we need to have a lot of output in order for Google to see that there's a lot of quality output, and then that in itself, if done properly, will help our ranking and
Yeah, but
visibility.
but don't think this means that you have to be some reality TV guy follows you around with a video camera 24 hours a day kind of thing. I mean, you could do that if you want for a week or two to try to make up for the last 10 years. But this is the kind of thing literally you just spend a few minutes a day and that's it. And have each of your team members spend just a few minutes a day. Or if that's too much, spend 5 minutes per week, right? Maybe during our lunch breaks on Friday. Whatever it is, you just need a little bit because you only have to beat the other painting contractors in your city. And the odds are they're doing very little.
Mhm. So if you started at like 1 to 3 videos per week posted across platform, that would
Yeah,
be a big start.
that'd be great. So let's say you did 3 per week and these are 15-second videos. Maybe you get carried away and you make it a 1 minute video, which is the thing that we teach. That's only 3 minutes per week. It takes 3 minutes to make excuses about why you didn't do it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And after a year, you're at 150. And if those turn into website or web pages, now your website has more than 100 web pages. A key ranking factor, which isn't as strong as it used to be, is if the website has at least 100 pages. So if I type in site:/yourwebsitename.com, I get back how many pages Google thinks that it has. And most painting contractors are probably like 20 or 30. What a disaster. That's all you have. You only have 20 or 30 pages on your entire website, including the about us and contact us and legal and whatever. Come on, right? You've got to get over 100. 100 web pages. That's so much effort. That'll take so much time. No, it's not. Just make a few 1 minute videos, then hire some virtual assistant from the Philippines or South America or wherever and have them just grab the stuff off of your phone as a shared Google Drive or wherever you put it. And then they handle everything. And you only have to spend 3 minutes a week. Anytime you meet a new, oh, this is the real estate agent that I work with. Here's a new home builder that I've known for many years, or congratulations to so-and-so for, whatever's going on in the town. Right.
Mhm.
And all you do is you're a cheerleader congratulating other people in their success as part of your day-to-day life. Just do what you always do,
So if
but just
you took
document
a
it.
video and a walkthrough, say you're doing a big project and you do a video walkthrough. So you walk
Yeah.
through, you talk about the project as you go through it. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
here's the walls, here's the roof, here's the whatever.
Yeah.
And then you post that.
Yeah.
What type of blog content would that be on your website? Like, how could you
So
convert that into something that's usable on your website?
so we mentioned that for SEO, everything is a geo or a category. So in this case, I'm at this house here in this neighborhood within Saskatoon, and we're doing this thing with the walls or the interiors or whatever it is. You're just talking about what you're doing, but you're making sure to give context on where it is and what exactly you're doing and who you're doing it with and what kind of job this is and how long it's going to take and things like that. You're not trying to sell.
Mhm.
You're just providing those kinds of details. And even if you've done that same walkthrough 20 times, it's going to be different each time because the job is different, the location is different, the technique and the approach is different, the person you're doing it with is different, the shirt you're wearing is different that day. Like all of these things are different signals.
Mhm.
and one of them will win. It could be, you could say the exact same thing in the exact same place, like redo the same thing like 10 times if you wanted to, because it only takes a minute each. And one of them will do better than the other ones.
Yeah.
And you initially, you won't know why. But if you do the analysis, you can always figure out why that particular one is better. I'm not saying, do 10 takes of each thing. I'm just saying when you get enough repetition, doing this thing, you'll eventually find a winner that gets more views, more people are commenting, just whatever reason, not that it has to go viral. And when you can discover what is it about, maybe it's the way you open. Maybe it's like you're doing kind of a walk and talk and people can see the background as you're doing it. It's going to be something. And if you can figure out what that thing is, then you just do that over and over again.
What do you think is the easiest way to post something across all of the platforms? Is it just
I'm a big
manually, or
fan of, people love to use automated tools and they recommend their favorite tools. And I'm on the board of a couple of these companies that do this, but I'm a big fan of manually posting. Because it forces a certain level of discipline. We have to think okay, I'm going to post on Twitter. I'm going to have to be shorter and snappier. I'm posting on Instagram. That's a slightly different audience. I'm posting on TikTok. It's got to be a little shorter. There's all these slight variations on how you might put in the description, although the video might be the same, right? You could still use CapCut to edit everything, which is TikTok's video editor. What a surprise. But the other part too is that Google and Facebook won't admit to this, but I believe that if you use software to auto post across multiple platforms, there's a penalty there. Now they'll deny it up and down, and the tool providers, of course, are going to deny it, but there's a penalty. And because when you're lazy, you don't really think about it. And then B, the networks, they want to discourage robotic auto spam sorts of techniques, even though your intention is good, right? They want real thoughtful content. So what I like to do is I'll make the content once, or the business owner makes the content once, but then we have a virtual assistant take care of the posting manually. And you do it for just a few networks.
I was actually going to ask
Instagram.
about that. If you're using a virtual assistant that say is in the Philippines or something to do your posting for you,
Yeah.
wouldn't the IP address be off? So would you get penalized for that?
No, you do it through a business manager. So if it's like a Facebook or whatever, you're doing it through the business manager, which is where you control all your assets. Or for Google, it's through your MCC, which is the equivalent of their business manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not having them log in as you personally and posting it. Yeah, because you're right. Then it's going to send all these weird login, challenges like, hey, your account might not be secure. Somebody from Pakistan is logging in as you, and then it locks you both out. And then all these things happen. You're right. But you do it through business manager.
Okay. And then TikTok has a business manager, and
Business Center,
Instagram,
which is their business
Facebook.
manager. Like every one of them, with the exception of LinkedIn and Twitter, which are the two that are behind, has a business manager.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that's very helpful. And so to get that, the last part of it, just to finish it up, to wrap it all up with a bow, the last part of it, I think there's just a little bit of unclarity there with this schema.
Yeah.
So if someone has a website and say they are now committed to doing this video thing and getting 3, quasi blog posts every week from these 15 to 60-second videos. So they're starting to get a lot more content on their website, and they're posting it on Google My Business, among other sites.
Right.
They should just go to Fiverr and find a contractor that does schema and get them to do kind of a
Fiverr,
check-in.
Upwork. Yeah. So if you have WordPress, which I recommend, and there's no reason not to be on WordPress, then there's
I actually
all
use
these.
Squarespace, and it works great.
I mean, people talk about Squarespace and Wix and whatever. WordPress is just better, which is a whole, I've had this argument with other people. Yes, you can make it work with Squarespace, but it's just, you're going to run into limitations. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, the beauty of WordPress as a platform is that it supports all the different plugins. So whether you use Yoast or Rank Math or whatever your favorite SEO plugin is, then it's very easy to optimize your posts, your tagging, your categories, your titles, all these other things. And there's AI that is integrated with these plugins now that will recommend better titles, that'll recommend where you can link between existing posts that you have. So link Whisper is one of my favorite SEO plugins, plus Rank Math, where when you create that post, the AI will suggest tags that you should use, will suggest other sentences that you can do to add. You can use ChatGPT to write the rest of the content for sure. You can upload the image and ask ChatGPT to write it because it can analyze it, right? But the SEO plugins, mainly on WordPress, that have the AI built in will automatically tune those posts and link between them. So if your site has any kind of ranking power, it will be distributed between the correct posts. And that is something that we used to do manually. But now the systems are getting pretty smart at figuring out where to link between like this kind of painting or this kind of neighborhood or this kind of job or this, that like the system will look across all your content and figure out where it should be linked between different pages. This is called internal linking.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen almost automatically. So if VA can do that for you, and you just pay them, whatever, $100 to do that.
Okay. So that's a lot, I think, of to-dos for people listening to this, and I'm very cautious about overwhelming people. I think we did a good job covering basically intro to Facebook ads, or really any advertising and testing, social media, and using that across platforms is a wonderful idea. We're actually internally, like at Painter Growth, we have this podcast, and what we've actually just started is creating a blog. We're going to start out our most popular podcast episodes, and repurpose those into a blog, and then put those on our websites and start doing that.
Super smart. Yeah. All podcasts should be repurposed. Obviously, there's podcast distribution platforms, but you should put it to YouTube and embed that YouTube URL inside a blog post. Then run the transcription using YouTube transcript or Descript or whatever to get the words, run the transcription through ChatGPT saying, you're an expert editor, take this podcast and redo it into an article, right? And it'll do that.
Yeah. It's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
100% exactly what we
and
did.
It works from an SEO standpoint, and it helps your site. And you'll see where that's driving new visitors that are not just coming from YouTube, but from other places. And
Except
driving
ChatGPT has character limitations on the 3.5 or 2.5 or whatever. So
use 4.0 and you have 128,000 tokens.
They closed enrollment.
Oh yeah, they said it because they have too many people on it right now, but they're going to reopen it soon.
Yeah, we'll get back on. I'll get on that eventually. Last thing I wanted to touch on, and I think that you feel that SEO and personal brand are kind of the same thing, but I mean, you have obviously had a long career. You've done a lot of different things, but you now have like probably over 1 million followers across platforms.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's going to sound ridiculous. I never sought to be famous or an influencer, or I have friends of mine who are like, hey, Dennis, let's go rent a Lamborghini so we can make fun of all these influencer people who have millions of followers. I've always sought to do a really good job in whatever I do. And when that happens, people talk about it. I get invited to podcasts. I get to hang out with really cool people. I speak at conferences. Like I was telling you, I've spoken 10 countries in the last 10 weeks. So I don't even know like what time it is. I'm so jet lagged. And when people talk about the good work that you do, and when you share expertise and people talk about that, like, hey, there's that episode on SEO where Dennis and Mike, talked about this one thing about schema and whatever it was, like, oh, that was really helpful. I'm going to go share that with my other painting contractor friends. Like, okay, great. Thank you. When other people share your stuff, that results in more followers. That results in more. It could be people don't follow you because you say, hey, follow me. Oh, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to click like and follow. I never, ever, ever ask for that. Right. But when you do good things, other people want to hang out with you. So I was speaking at the National Funeral Directors Association. How wild is that? I was their closing keynote, huge auditorium with thousands of people. And we adopted a few funeral homes and said, hey, do you have a young adult and you want to get your SEO done? Have them go through our training and implement boom, 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 boom. And you can fire your SEO agency. Okay. Just like literally have your young adult go through this stuff. And we featured the stories of these. We had some big funeral homes with many locations. We had some mom and pops, and they all told the story about how they found some young adult to go through our training and drove all these great results. And the National Funeral Directors Association, they put it in their magazine, they put it on the internet, they put it all, on their website and all that, so that all these thousands of other funeral directors are following the example that we set of, hey, here's this training on how to do SEO. Have your young adult go through it. We're not even charging for it. Just have them go through it. And enough people are talking about it that it's creating more followers for me, more traffic, more of all these things. But not once do you see, Mike, did I ever say, hey, come check out my website or go follow me or be a subscriber on YouTube. I never once ever said that. I'm just trying to give out all my stuff for free. Right. And I've been doing that for almost 30 years now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had a lot of experience with contractors who've been, putting in their honest best work. They do the, best. You ask 100 contractors, 95 of them will say we're the best quality ones in the area.
Yeah.
Right. But and they're able to stay busy enough through word of mouth, at least for themselves, but not busy enough to run multiple crews, right? To scale up from like, 20,000 a month to 200,000 a month.
Right.
How would you, is paid advertising the way to do that quickly, or how would you take that
local service ads
created?
Number one is local service ads. Remember, but it starts with number one, which is do good work, obviously, because if you have bad reviews, then no amount of advertising is going to overcome that. But if you're taking good care of your customers, you want to amplify that. If you say, the 95 out of 100 folks, like you said, they all insist they're doing great work, then your reviews should be good. And the reviews that you just kind of get passively, that just sort of happen, you can get more by actively encouraging your customers to leave reviews, by sending them some cookies, by calling them up a week later saying, hey, just wanted to say thank you, Christmas cards, whatever. There's all these different ways of saying thank you to your customers.
Simply by asking.
Yes, simply by asking. It's not some magic thing. I mean, there's one technique that we use. We teach a lot of contractors, which is when these crews go out and right when they're finished with the job, don't wait for like 2 weeks later where they get a call back or some email tool that says, whatever. But you say, hey, part of my compensation is, getting great reviews. So would you be willing to help me by leaving a review about what it was like working with me? And with that personal appeal, most people say yes to that. And then when they say yes, you say, here's the magic phrase. If you give me your phone, I will show you how. And then people just kind of robotically hand over their phone to you. That's the phrase. If you give me your phone, I'll show you how. And then they literally scan the QR code and, write the review for them, or have them just say whatever, or film a little video right there. That's how you get tons more user-generated content at the moment when the client's very happy about the job. If you give me your phone, I'll show you how. How many people know that phrase?
Yeah, I like that. We do the first part where it's like the tied to compensation. It's like, hey, my boss will give me a bonus if you give us a review. Would you be willing to do that?
And that's not an incentivized review, because the number one thing I hear back when people say this, oh, you're not allowed to pay people, because like restaurants will say like, hey, if you leave a 5-star on Yelp or whatever, I'll give you a free dessert. That's against the terms of service. That'll get you banned. That's true. That's giving the customer an incentive. But if you say, hey, I as an employee, I get the incentive, that's completely within the rules on Facebook, Google, Yelp, all of them.
100%. I love it.
Yeah, you do that. So then when you capture that and you get the little video or you get the pictures, because sometimes like women in particular, like they don't want to show their hair or whatever it is, right? It's a vanity thing. Fine. But when you get that review or that story or the behind the scenes, that's the raw ingredient that you repurpose. That's how you win it.
Can someone post a video to a Google review?
Yes. I've done hundreds. I'm a level 8 reviewer. I have almost 10 million views on my Google reviews.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just one guy.
Yeah. I left a whatever review at this pizza place, and I keep getting emails. Your review's got 5,000 views. Your review's got 10,000 views.
I have pictures and videos that have over 1 million. Actually, it's videos that have gotten the most views. You can imagine why. I have videos that have millions of views each.
I'm just picturing that perfect scenario. If you have a super happy customer, if you show me your phone, I'll show you. If you give me your phone, I'll show you how. You go to
Uh-huh.
Google, put in 5 stars, and like have them not write a
Yeah.
review, but like, hey, if you click here, you can record a quick video. Can you
Uh-huh.
just tell them about your experience?
Yeah. And you just guide them through it. And
Yeah.
the best way to do that is if you're making eye contact with them. Now, people are afraid looking at a camera because it's intimidating, public speaking, whatever. So you just look at them, establish eye contact like this. Instead of having the phone in front of them, you turn the phone to the side 30 degrees. So then they're still looking at you and the phone is at a 30-degree angle. You follow me? And then you just
Hmm.
interview them saying, hey, what was it like working with us? Can you just kind of walk me through, like when I got here, as we did the job up until now, just chronologically walk me through what was it like? And they tell you, and you say, and how do you feel? And this is the key. How do you feel about working with us? Right. And so the reason why you say feel is you're trying to get the emotion into that review. Because otherwise they'll say, working with Michael Gore Hickman was good. I enjoyed working with him. He did a good job. They showed up on time, blah, 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 blah. I mean, those are good words, right?
Yeah.
But that fails because you want to have the emotion. Like, wow, Mike showed up on time. I really enjoyed the work that he did. I mean, look at how it looks now, right? It was nasty before. And so when they give you kind of the first draft, they say the words for the first time. The words are still kind of coming out of their brain. They're trying to make those words, make those sentences. And so it comes off as tentative a little bit because they're trying to figure out exactly what to say. Once they've said it, you say, now good, one more time, please. Right. And when they say it the second time, it comes out more powerfully. And you might feel like
Yeah.
you're being rude to ask them the second time, but they almost never mind. Like, oh, that's awesome. That's good. Could you just do it one more time? And the second time, it comes out so much better. You see why?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I
And most
feel
people
like
never do that. And that's
this
why
is
their
a
video
huge
reviews
jump
suck.
for someone though to go from not even asking for a review to asking for a view and then asking for a video and then asking for a video a second time, right? It's like
I know it's one of
big,
those things that there's levels to this. Okay. Like if you
yeah,
want to be at the super pro level, do it what I'm talking about. Otherwise, literally just getting the review is better than nothing.
for
But
sure.
of course, if you're going to get the review, might as well ask them to say it a second time, that kind of thing.
100%. Yeah, definitely work your way up that channel, but don't like think about that end where you need to ask them twice for the video review to being the reason why you don't ask for the review in the first place.
Right. And you can tell whether they're cool with it or not, right? Like once they've left you have this little conversation. If you can tell like, oh, they don't want to say anymore, then don't push it, obviously. But most of
Yeah.
the time they're happy to because they
A
know
little
that they're helping
situational
you
awareness.
out.
I know we're running out of time here, but what would you say some words of advice for people who are a little bit scared of technology or who just don't really know where to start? Like, what would be your advice to someone like that?
They're not judging you based on you being Tom Cruise or whatever kind of actor. You're a painter. Okay. You have crews of people that go around and paint people's houses. That's the expectation. This whole judgment about, like, I'm an introvert. I didn't even speak English until I was 7 years old. So if I can do it, I don't even have any hair. I don't even like how I sound. But don't worry about that because the only judge is going to be yourself. It's always ourselves that we judge. You're here to grow your business, and there's other families that depend upon this. So all the people in your crews and their families are all depending upon you as the leader of your business. So even though it's a little uncomfortable to make these videos and there's all this like tactical stuff you've got to learn, it's worth it because your business depends upon this marketing. And if you don't want to do it, then find some young adult and have them go through all our training, which is public, and so they can do it. But somebody's got to do it. You can't just throw it over the wall to some agency and just pretend and hope that they're going to do this for you. Okay. They don't really care. The only one who's going to care about your business as much as you do is you.
Wise words. I love it. Well, Dennis, thanks for coming on today, man. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Awesome. I appreciate you.
And maybe next time we have you on, we can talk about virtual assistants because you have a goal of creating 1 million jobs.
That's right. We're a quarter of the way there. We've created a lot of jobs, but 25% still an F.
Yeah. So
And
let's
there's a lot of
let's get
places. I mean, mainly the Philippines, but Pakistan is up and coming, South America, a lot of friends in South Africa. There's so many places that we can create jobs. And us as Americans, I can't even hire people at $60,000 a year because McDonald's pays $20 an hour. So I've got to hire people from these other places.
Well, that is a conversation for another day, and I look forward to having it.
Awesome, Mike. Let's do it.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dennis.
you.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.